Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we peel back the layers of corporate filings and see what is really going on. Today, we're diving into something that might sound a bit dry, but holds some juicy details about a company's inner workings. We're talking about a filing from Transcontinental Realty Investors Incorporated. Now, we're going to see how this company is doing based on what they presented at their recent shareholder meeting. Before we jump in, if you like getting clear, no jargon breakdowns of these official documents, make sure you are subscribed. And hey, we've built a fantastic community over on Discord where we chat about these things all the time, with a link right there in the description below. Alright, so this report is dated the 12th of December 2025, and it's all about what happened at the annual meeting of stockholders for Transcontinental Realty Investors, Incorporated, or TCI as well call them. This is basically a company's report card on how things went during their big annual get, together with the people who own a piece of the company, the shareholders. The big event, their annual meeting, took place on the 10th of December 2025. Now, they're filing this to let everyone know what decisions were made and how the shareholders voted on key issues. They sent out all the official papers, called a Notice of Annual Meeting and Proxy Statement, back on the 30th of October 2025. This is standard practice to make sure everyone, especially the shareholders, gets the information they need to vote or to understand how their votes were counted. On the record date, which was the 29th of October 2025, TCI had a total of 8,639,316 shares of common stock out there. Think of these shares as the pieces of the company that people own. Each one of those shares gets one vote. For the meeting to even happen and for decisions to be valid, a certain number of shares needed to be represented, either by shareholders showing up in person or by sending in their voting instructions ahead of time. This is called a quorum, and good news for TCI, they definitely met that requirement. A massive 8,371,455 shares. That's about 96.9% of all the shares out there were represented at the meeting. This is a really strong turnout, which usually means shareholders are engaged and paying attention to what the company is doing. It also means the decisions made at this meeting are legitimate and binding. It's worth noting that a big chunk of these shares, 3386692 to be exact, were held in what they call DTCC accounts. These are essentially ways that shares are held by financial institutions for their clients. So it's common to see a large number like this. Now, the main event at these annual meetings is often the election of directors. These are the people who make the big strategic decisions for the company. TCI presented a slate of nominees, and we're seeing the results of the shareholder votes for each of them. Let's look at Henry A. Butler. He received a whopping 7712361 votes in favor of him continuing as a director. There were no votes against him, which is pretty telling. He had 229,760 abstentions, meaning shareholders chose not to vote either for or against him, and 429,334 broker non-votes. Broker non-votes happen when a broker holding shares on behalf of clients doesn't receive voting instructions for a particular proposal, so they can't vote those shares. Next up is William J. Hogan. He also got strong support with 7,661,750 votes for him. Again, no votes against, and this time 280,371 abstentions, and the same 429,334 broker non-votes. Then we have Robert A. Jakuski. He secured 7,642,933 votes in favor. Similar to his colleagues, no votes against him, 299,188 abstentions, and those 429,334 broker non-votes. Fernando V. Lara Silas also garnered significant support with 7,653,512 votes for no opposition here either, 288,609 abstentions, and the recurring 429,334 broken non-votes. Finally, Ted R. Munsell rounds out the list of directors. He received 7,642,944 votes in favor. As with the others, 0 votes against, 299,177 abstentions, and the consistent 429,334 broker non-votes. The outcome here is clear. All the nominees that TCI put forward were elected as directors. This shows a strong confidence from the shareholders in the current leadership team guiding the company. It's a good sign when a company's board is re-elected with such overwhelming support. Beyond electing directors, there was one other key item on the agenda, ratifying the appointment of their independent auditors. This is essentially asking shareholders to approve the accounting firm that checks the company's financial books to make sure everything is in order and fair, for the fiscal year ending the 31st of December 2025. TCI proposed keeping Pharma, Fuqua and Huff PC on board. The shareholders overwhelmingly approved this. A massive 8,322,740 votes were cast for keeping Pharma, Fuqua and Huff PC as their auditors. There were only 44,725 votes against this appointment and a mere 3,900 abstentions. This is really strong backing for their choice of accounting firm. It suggests shareholders are comfortable with the company's financial oversight and reporting. Importantly, there were no broker non-votes on this particular issue, meaning all the shares represented had a clear vote either for or against. This is a good indicator of clear shareholder sentiment on this matter. The day after the big shareholder meeting, on the 11th of December 2025, the newly elected or re-elected board of directors held their own meeting. This is where they formally make decisions about the company's leadership structure. And in a decisive move, Henry A. Butler was re-elected as the chairman of the board. This means he will continue to lead the board meetings and play a significant role in setting the company's strategic direction. Additionally, Ted Aramansel was reappointed as the presiding director. This role often involves ensuring meetings are conducted smoothly and according to proper procedures. These appointments reinforce the continuity in leadership that the shareholders seem to favour based on their voting results. Now, let's zoom out a bit and think about what this all means. The overwhelming election of all director nominees and the strong approval of their auditors suggest that the shareholders at Transcontinental Realty Investors Incorporated are generally content with the current management and their chosen partners in financial oversight. The high turnout for the quorum also shows a healthy level of shareholder engagement. For TCI, this means they can move forward with their plans with a solid mandate from their owners. The lack of any significant opposition on these key votes points to stability and a unified vision between the company's leadership and its shareholders. Looking at these numbers, it appears that TCI is operating with a sense of stability. The absence of significant pushback on director elections or auditor appointments indicates that the company isn't facing any major internal dissension or investor unrest that would manifest as a large number of against votes. This is a solid foundation for any business. Of course, this filing doesn't delve into the specific financial performance or future strategies in detail, as that is usually covered in other reports like the 10Q or 10K. However, what we see here is a company that has successfully navigated its annual shareholder meeting with strong support for its leadership and its operational partners. The key risk here, and it is a general one for companies like this, is always market fluctuation and the real estate sector's inherent cyclicality. However, based on this specific report about shareholder votes, the company appears to be on steady ground with a united front. Alright, that's our deep dive into what happened at Transcontinental Realty Investors Incorporated's latest shareholder meeting based on this Form 8K filing. What are your thoughts on these results and what they signal for the company's direction? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, please hit that like button. It really does help us out. And of course, subscribe for more corporate insights. Don't forget to join the conversation on our Discord server linked in the description. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.